friends, it was very kind of Dr. Dorothy Baker to invite me to share with you this joyous occasion. As soon as I received her invitation, which was awaiting my return from my tour in Europe and America and Australia, I immediately wrote back to say that I heartily accept this invitation. I felt a sort of kinship with colleges of social work, like other institutions of similar kinds, like medical colleges, nursing colleges and schools, etc. Because in all these institutions, there is this stress on service of man. That is a great point of kinship. This is the first time I am coming to this College of Social Work. But I have been very close to several other colleges of social work, like the Delhi School of Social Work, Dhaka Institute of Social Work, Baroda University School of Social Work. I have always felt drawn to men and women who are being trained to serve society. This kind of professional social work is a modern phenomenon. Up to 1850 AD, even in Europe and America, there was no such thing as professional social work. People did work for society out of a sense of human concern. But due to the industrial age in which we live, so many new problems have arisen, and there was need for a cadre of professional social workers, and that means special training. That's how in the modern period you find, along with many other branches in our educational system, this particular branch has come up. Social work. Students being trained to do their social work. Because things have become so specialized, problems have become so complicated, we can't do social work just merely as a human impulse. We need training. So in this modern period, you find these institutions coming up. Parallel to the institutions coming up, problems also multiply in society. At present you can see, one is chasing the other. You send out social workers and you find problems increasing all the time in society. A never-ending chasing, as it were. This professional training in social work has a great advantage because there is knowledge, technical competence given to us through that training. But in all professional work, there is always a tendency to lose the human touch. Even in administration, business, medicine, nursing, and this kind of social work, when the professional competence comes in, the other competence goes away, the human concern. And we are seeing it increasingly today, that fields of work where the most important thing is the human concern, they begin to lose that human concern. And we see in this modern period how the only motivation for work in many fields of work is money, money and money. We call it today the profit motive. Industry, business, medical services, administration, every department is dominated by this profit motive. And the more the profit motive, the less becomes the human motive. And we are passing through that period today. All over India and all over the world, this is the disease of modern civilization. This has to be tackled. In the papers you read every now and then how people become corrupt by sheer profit motive. All other finer sentiments are washed away. Even just 2 days ago, you read in the newspapers, eminent surgeons in Germany stealing the pacemakers from the dead bodies of people, very highly qualified people. There is no question of condemning A, B or C in this matter. We are living in an age where too much of the profit motive has come, too little of non-profit motives have become apparent. In this particular field of social work, you need very much that human motivation. What Dorothy Baker said in her opening speech, welcome speech, we do train the mind or the intellect, but we need the heart. What's the nature of that heart? People do use the word heart. What does it really mean? I know for certain that if people come to know what it means, more people will try to develop in that direction. But we do not know much about it. But it is good for us to know. And particularly students who come to these kind of courses like social work, nursing, medical services, etc. Because in all these areas, you are directly in touch with a human being. How do you react to a human situation? That's the most important question in all education. Our subject given to me this evening is education, ethics, and social values. Our education is becoming more and more dry, mechanical. It is bereft of the human motive. That's why there is so much of suffering around us. Always there will be suffering. When you have got a human body, often you have to suffer. This mind and the sensory system also constantly have their ups and downs. But what makes life in society a satisfaction and a joy is that you feel you are a man among men. You get a human touch. You can always find somebody who will come to console you, to help you. You feel encouraged thereby. That is why, even though we cannot eliminate all suffering from society, but once there is that human impulse generated and radiated into society, you feel life is still bearable. Life becomes enjoyable. Take that human impulse away, life becomes absolutely drab, meaningless. More and more people today are experiencing this inner privation. Along with that privation comes the distortion of the human psyche, tremendous distortions of the human psyche. For want of getting a little love from people, people become distorted very much. Not only little babies, not only little children, they do need so much of love in their early years. If they don't get it, they become distorted. What are these delinquents today all over society? Because children never got that human touch. But even in later age, people suffer so much today from this privation of that human touch. Our country is having quite a good number of people who have not got that human touch and they are suffering. Ours is what is called a developing society in which millions and millions are undeveloped. They have not got even the human status yet. But Other societies are quite different. They have plenty to eat and drink, and yet there again the same problem, the same privation, want of love from other human beings, and strangely, incapacity in oneself to show love to others. There is a dryness of the human system. Great sociologists have spoken about it with great sorrow. One of the outstanding sociologists was the late Pidarin Sorokin of the Harvard University. A second great thinker in the same line was the late Bertrand Russell. Both of them have spoken that such a fine civilization, yet men and women are unhappy. What shall we do for it? Then comes the answer. There is only one remedy, one simple remedy. We can make this world fine. And what is that? I am using the language of Sorokin. How to increase altruism in the human heart. If that is done, this world will be a beautiful world to live in. Bertrand Russell spoke of having a little love in the heart of man. A little Christian love, he called it. He himself was not a Christian, he was agnostic, but in the post-war period, he had used this word, a little Christian love in the heart of man. Then this world will be a beautiful world to live in. In our country today, the same story, much more serious than anywhere else, where 300 million people live below the poverty line, not only poverty line, below the human line. We are all living there. We have our education here. We live comfortable lives, quite a good number of people, and the whole country is suffering today. How to increase love in the heart of men and women? People sitting in the secretariat, they become wooden. They have no response to the human situation. How many papers are lying untouched? Files untouched. Every file tells the story of some suffering here, some suffering there. I am handling that file. It is a dead file. And if I am also dead behind it, how can government move? Today, all over India, this is a serious problem. The men behind the table must be living men and women. How can you make them alive? What's the nature of that life? When I was a young student, I read a beautiful sentence from Swami Vivekananda's letters from America to workers in India. That impression that I got from my young days has remained always with me. None lives except he who lives for others. The rest are more dead than alive. What a powerful sentiment. Physically alive we are, but there is not physical life only for man. Where is that humanity in you? That question we have to answer today. How to make us truly human? As was said by probably Victor Hugo, we are not men. We are only candidates to humanity. And education is to make you really a human being. What a beautiful concept of education. If only I strengthen my brain, make it sharp, do I become educated? Not at all. I become a crook. Today, education turns out more crooks than human beings. The greatest quality that you can have is that humanistic impulse. In fact, I consider this humanism and the humanistic impulse as the most important contribution to humanity today from two great cultural sources. One is our own ancient Indian cultural tradition. Second is the modern Western tradition. The West has given us two things, modern science and humanism. We hardly go in for either humanism or even science. We may do science to get a degree, but the scientific mind, scientific thinking is largely absent. Even the passion, prejudice, frenzy, unthinking, and yet we may have a degree in science as well. Only shows we have not assimilated the spirit of the modern Western culture. the scientific attitude, and a tremendous humanistic impulse. So also in the ancient tradition of India, a Buddha, what was his greatness? Infinite compassion. What a wonderful idea. Karuna is a great term. The heart has grown. It has expanded. We have Ramakrishna, Vivekananda in our time. In that political field, we had a Mahatma Gandhi. What beautiful personalities. A Gandhi who said, my mission is to wipe every tear from every eye. You have the spirit of humanism. In that great utterance, should not our education inspire our children with this tremendous humanistic impulse? Let us teach them how to think clearly, how to think pointedly, how to have a trained mind. That is what science can give. Along with it, a tremendous human impulse. Combine these two, you have the best of education. We don't have it today. Neither clear thinking, nor that humanistic impulse. Both together can create a heaven in this country which is near hell, so far as present conditions go. So that in education, this beautiful idea, a girl or a boy, growing beyond his or organic dimension. When I speak of the humanistic impulse, I speak of a key factor in all human life, a key factor in all education, namely expansion of sympathy, expansion of personality, man growing beyond the organic dimension. That's a beautiful concept. Can you therefore define education and also religion as the science of human growth? It will be a great day when our education realizes this truth. Education is the science of human growth, but a growth not confined merely to this body, not merely confined to this brain, but the entire personality, the emotions and the feelings, the entire growth, a threefold growth: physical, intellectual, spiritual. What a beautiful conception. The spiritual growth of man. Have you grown spiritually? What does it mean? We are afraid of the word spiritual, the word religious, because we think it means some static piety. No, there is a growth of man beyond his organic limitation. When you have sympathy for others, when you show compassion to others, when you engage yourself in service of other people, what has happened to you? You have grown beyond your organic limitation. Physically, I am limited within the system. My physical valuation will be 140 pounds. That's all I can grow. Somebody may grow 200, but he grows 300, it is dangerous. Never grow physically. There is a limit to it. Then comes my mental growth. Ignorant village boy comes to school, the mind grows, it has a grip on the world around it because it has knowledge today. But physical growth, intellectual growth, if unaccompanied by that spiritual growth, can make us into crooks and rascals in every sense of the term. I have a fine intellect. I can cheat everybody here. They don't know anything. I know everything. Today, that exploitation of intellect of people less endowed is a constant phenomenon. That is why we need to develop this third dimension of growth, the most vital so far as man is concerned. Have you grown spiritually? Can you dig affections in other people? Can you go beyond your own organic limitation and expand in sympathy, love and compassion to enrich lives around you? If you have done so, you have really become a human being. You are really alive. Vivekananda's definition comes here. None lives except he who lives for others. The rest are more dead than alive. We have too many dead people in India today. Only self and self and self. Many people do not believe in religion. I can understand the human reaction against religion. When religion became just a bundle of creeds and rituals without any spiritual strength within it. Vivekananda deplored this situation in the world of religion. He said in that letter, religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What we want is character. What a beautiful idea. And that is the true meaning of religion. People inspired by religion can go out of themselves to serve others, to dig affections in other people. But in this modern period, because of the low level to which life of religion has come, selfish, merely ritualistic, unconcerned, we can combine a good deal of dishonesty and a good deal of religion together. Very often you find in people, because of this, there is a reaction against religion. And that reaction takes the form of absolutely nothing to do with anything beyond one's own comfort, pleasure, profit, and whatever exploitation you can do with a nice brain given to you by education. This is a dangerous situation for any society. Cleverness is not the end of education. Intelligence should not be equated with cleverness. The Hindi word for cleverness is chalaki. Too many chalaks will spoil a society. That is why this wonderful dimension of compassion, of love and concern must inspire us in all education. Our late President Radhakrishna, in a speech in Delhi, said, people, modern people, men and women, they say we don't believe in religion. So what do they believe in? I'm quoting him. They believe in going about doing good. That's all they understood. Then Radhakrishna said, when you observe closely, it is more going about than doing good. Our life is empty. How can we fill something in this life? Rich people, high-level people, men, women, empty lives, they feel they must do something. Take up a cause and do something there to fill up their emptiness. That is one side of life. The other is different. You grow beyond this organic limitation. A rich personality comes into you. Then you pour it out in acts and modes of service and good of people. What the Bible said, out of the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Vivekananda added, out of the fullness of the heart, the hand worketh too. If the work comes from the fullness of the heart, what a beautiful work it will be. That's called the humanistic impulse. Unless you create it there, how can it come out? Well, today we say, yes, I can do better. Give me more money, I will do better. Today the only motivation is money. Since independence, it has destroyed the human factor in inter-human relationship. Only money remains. But paying more money, do you get more work? Not at all. That's what we say in India. Salary is what is due to me. Overtime is for which I work here. Not at all anything else. Therefore, mere money motivation is no motivation at all. How can I equate myself with the money that I get? What is your value? 1,000 rupees a month? Is that your value? We have done it today. Our value has been reduced. 1,000 rupees a month? Is that your value? We have done it today. Our value has been reduced. The money that we get, the soul within is completely eliminated once for all. That's why there is so much of suffering, not so much physical, but also mental. That spiritual growth has failed to appear, and the capacity to love has failed to appear. Capacity to respond to love also is going away. Our students, when they are trained in a college of social work, they become efficient because it is a very professional work, specialized work. Give them training. Along with the training, let the students ask the question, have I grown beyond my intellectual, organic dimension? That growth is a beautiful growth. You begin to pour out love and compassion outside. Your work gets a new status, a new touch. What a beautiful work it is. I am glad to say colleges of social work have turned out quite a good number of such people, not only professionally competent, but also spiritually, humanistically sensitive. I came across people in other parts of the world of such nature, and that gave me great joy. Just 3-4 years ago, when I visited the United States, I was in Houston on a lecture at the university. I stayed with an Indian family whom I knew before. She had education here, and she was a social counselor. Now, social counseling is a big work in America today. Men and women full of problems, children full of problems. And main problem is, I don't know how to love. I don't get any love also. That's the condition today. So you find mothers battering their own children, lakhs and lakhs of such cases. And this lady was telling me, I had to handle such cases of a mother who had battered her own child. She was very abnormal at that time. She came to me and she was telling me this whole story. I just asked her, Mother, you are a mother. How do you batter your own child? Your mother's heart. Why do you do so? She was just telling like this. She was tense, looking at her like this. After a while, she came, held the neck of this counselor like this. I shall strangle you. I shall strangle you, she said. Now what is her situation? She had a good training. She had some inner spiritual strength. Very human she was. What did she do? She simply smiled and said, yes, you do. You can strangle me. I don't mind. Please do. She said like that, with such assurance, such peace. Then that lady removed her hand, started terribly weeping. And she said, how peaceful you are. How can I get that peace in it? How can you give me that peace in it? You are so peaceful there. What a beautiful tribute. A social worker, having trained in a college of social work, stands like this before society, can stand even the threatening hands that come to strangle you and remain absolutely calm and steady. That's called yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. That is pure religion. That is spiritual growth. And she could give compassion to that other woman. She wept and wept. I want to become peaceful. How can you give me that peace? What a beautiful understanding. What did Jesus say to all the disciples? My peace I leave with you. Every social worker must learn this art. My peace I leave with you. Not merely my technical competence. This remarkable enrichment of personality. We call it today qualitative enrichment of personality. The other is quantity. Bank account, money, we are increasing it by foul means, by good means, by corruption, by every means today. But what has happened to this? The man is dried up. And what is his own life? Elementary life. Does he know the joy of life? What a joy it is to live for others, to share one's joys with others. What a joy it is. Our tradition gives us a beautiful myth. You find it in many ancient books. The myth about Shiva drinking poison. It's a great story. Everybody knows it in India. I saw it in Cambodia, in that great Angkor Wat temple. Just at the entrance on both sides, there's Samudra Manthan story. And the story of Shiva drinking poison depicted in huge sculptural articles there. Now here is a wonderful story containing a profound message to all such institutions. Shiva drank poison, a poison that came by churning life, just like hydrogen bomb has come after churning modern life, science and technology. We got wristwatches, we got transistor radio, aeroplanes, so many nice things came. Just like Lakshmi came out of this Manthan, so also Ayurveda, Dhanvantari came from that Manthan. But also the great poison, Kalagora poison. What shall we do? The world is being burned by that poison. They go to Brahma, the creator. I can't handle this subject. Go to Shiva in Kailas. He'll be able to solve this problem. They went to Shiva. Shiva immersed in his own infinite nature. He has a tremendous compassion. Buddha and Shiva are told as always immersed in their divine nature and also full of human compassion. So Shiva opened their eyes, what can I do for you? This is the problem. He comes to the shore of the ocean, sees people frightened, poison lying there. What did he do? That story is beautiful, as narrated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He quietly took the poison in his hand and said, I shall drink it. I may die, but the world will live. What do I care for my little body? So he drank the poison. The poison was so small compared to his own infinite personality. It did not reach his stomach, only up to the neck. That stuck up there. From that day, he got a new name, Neelakanta. What a beautiful name. The blue-throated one. Saying this, the Bhagavata says, what is Bhushanam to ordinary people is Bhushanam to a great soul. What a beautiful idea. This is the Bhushana. Means it is a bad mark for you and me, not for Shiva. It becomes a Bhushanam, an ornament to him. We worship you today. Neelakanta is your name. Then comes the final verse, a beautiful, meaningful verse, verses which men like Gandhiji have been inspired with. Tapyante lokatapena prayashas sadhavo janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha. That is real nature of good people. Good people is the word used there. Sadhava, good people. What is their character? Their heart is full of compassion, compassion. When you suffer, I also suffer. My heart is pulsing with the pulse of your heart. That is called compassion. Tapyante lokatapena prayasha sadhavo janaha. Then comes the second line, paramaradhanam tadhi. That alone is the worship of God. Have compassion. Love people. Serve them. Pluck out from the heart a rooted sorrow, as Shakespeare said. That is real worship of God. Why? That God is not sitting in the sky, but in the heart of all beings. Paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha. He is there in every one of us. There are people in distress. Go out towards them. So it is not merely social service. It becomes pure religion. It becomes a spiritual service as well. This combination of work and worship is what is given to us in our purest spiritual tradition. So that here is a possibility that Shiva, that is in all of us, when it is awakened, infinite compassion comes. You grow beyond your organic limitation. This is called the spiritual growth of man. If education doesn't give me that spiritual growth, it only strengthens my body, strengthens my intellectual system. I become the despair of the society in which you and I live. How many criminals today are coming out of society who are highly educated, very intellectual, but no human compassion. They are called Rakshasa in our literature. Manava Rakshasaha Parahitam Swasthaya Nigdhandiye. Bhartrahari, in his famous verse in the Neelakanta said, the third category of man is this Manava Rakshasa. Rakshasa among human beings. Why? They destroy everybody's happiness to gain some advantage to oneself. That's called Manava Rakshasa, where there is no compassion. Knowledge is there, no compassion is there. We are turning out too many Manava Rakshasas ever since we became free. That is our education today. Unless we reverse this trend, there are people with heart, with compassion, with love for others. How much cry of distress is rising from all parts of the country. How are we to respond to it? These educational institutions perform lecture, beautiful ideas which can really inspire our young people today. I merely mention that this growth which I refer to, beyond the organic, beyond the intellectual, the spiritual growth of man, by which I grow beyond my organic limitations, learn to dig affections in millions of hearts everywhere around me. This concept of spiritual growth is what is being emphasized in the higher dimensions of 20th century biology. When it defines the nature of evolution at the human stage, it is called psychosocial evolution. Organic evolution rises to the psychosocial level at the stage of man. What a beautiful new concept, psychosocial psychosocial evolution. What is called psychosocial evolution in biology is what is called spiritual growth in all the great religions of the world. This confluence of the Ganga and the Yamuna, scientific thought and the spiritual thought, will make for a full human growth. That's what our education needs today. The sooner we develop it, the better. So far as these institutions are concerned, colleges of social work, and especially medical, nursing and other institutions, we can only say, when a student leaves this college, on the convocation day, you get your degree, you get many things there. But on that occasion, let the student remember one thing, what Jesus said when he looked around him. Yes, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Let me be one such laborer in that great field of human service, human happiness, human joy. That should be the dedication of every student passing out of these institutions. Thank you.